what's called the Advent season, that is the time leading up to the Christmas event. And so we're celebrating Christmas, and it's a joyous time. It's one of the greatest events of human history where God became flesh. But there are a lot of questions about when Jesus was born. The first question has to do with the year. You say, well, it's 2020 right now. He must have been born 2020 years ago. But it's been calculated that maybe that was a little bit off when it was first determined. And most scholars believe that Jesus was born in what we call 4 to 6 BC. Some even go back to 8 BC. And it's based upon the census that the Romans had and how it corresponds with the scripture and things that they learned later. Because you see, they didn't have all the technology that we have today, and they weren't as precise. They were precise in the sense of, in the certain year of this governor, of that Caesar, they would say that's what year it was. But they didn't have AD and BC like we do now until a few centuries after Christ was born. The other question has to do is December 25th, is that his birthday or not? And there's been a lot of talk about that in theological circles. Certainly it's good that we celebrate it then, and I don't think it makes any difference. But many people think that when the census was taken, it'd be unlikely it would have been in December, in the middle of winter, then it most likely would have taken place in the fall or in the spring. And so there are some calculations that say that Jesus was born in October, and others that he was born as late as May 20th. Why December 25th then? Well, I think two reasons came about in the early church. One is that there was a pagan holiday during that period of time, and this kind of replaced that for them. They were used to having this celebration, and the church said, we're going to celebrate the birth of Jesus rather than the type of pagan holidays that you have, but yet they could still celebrate. The other thing that has to do is in the Gospel of John, where John the Baptist says, he must increase and I must decrease. And so it has been traditionally known that John is 6 months older than Jesus, and his birth was placed at June 24th, and therefore Jesus at December 25th, because of that verse. Because at June 24th, approximately, the days start getting shorter, and at December 25th, the days start getting longer. So John is saying, I become less, he becomes more, and the early church, not knowing for sure exactly when John or Jesus were born, gave those particular dates. Well, ultimately, it doesn't matter because Jesus was born. God became flesh and dwelt among us. But I thought I'd just give you a little history lesson. I hope it's helpful as you consider and think through your faith and your relationship with Jesus.